r/AskReddit. What is the creepiest glitch you've experienced in real life? Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel. Was taking the train home one afternoon and an old man was sitting a row ahead of me. He turned around and asked for directions to the hospital, and I told him which stop to get off at. Eventually, his stop arrives, and he gets up to leave, but before he exits he turned and said, "Thank you, I'll see you later." I said, "Yeah, no problem," and again he said, "I'll see you later," and he looked me right in the eye. I said, "Sure, see ya," and he got off the train and hobbled away with his cane. Thought it was a little weird he was adamant about seeing me around, but whatever. Freaky thing is, when I got off the train and to the bus station, about 5 minutes after boarding my bus, I hear a voice that sounds like the old man. I looked out the bus window and sure enough, he was there at the bus station, same clothes, hat, and cane. I know it was the same guy, but with his walking speed and the available bus/train routes at the time, I have zero clue how he got to the bus station right when I did. There are no buses near the hospital that go to that bus station, and my train was the only train that had just arrived at the bus station. I had a dream about a coworker. She loved dogs and would always ask me to share pictures of my GSD and Labrador whenever we talk at work. In the dream she was on a couch crying. My Labrador is a very emotional, connected dog. She goes to anyone she thinks is sad, which is exactly what she did in the dream. My coworker looked at me and said, "Thank you for sharing her. I feel better about all of this now." I found out at work the next day that my coworker had tripped at the top of her stairs and died that night. The dream still freaks me out when I think about it. It was so vivid and clear. In 2010 I was working for a transportation company as a dispatcher, and I walked out to go home one afternoon and my foot went through the paved parking lot. After I took another step I looked all over and it was all solid. It was a weird random thing, but I'll never forget it. I had a dream an old friend, who I hadn't spoken to or seen around or anything in about 2 years, died, and I went to his funeral. I woke up and thought, whoa, that's weird, and went to check his Facebook to see what he was up to. He had gone missing a few days previous, but his body wasn't found until over a year later. While this may not seem creepy, I can tell you the experience most definitely was creepy. This happened when I was 8 and working in the yard with my mom. My mother and I were doing the spring planting in the flower beds around the house. I went inside for a pee break, and on my way to the bathroom I had to walk through the living room. I entered the LR through the kitchen, looked up, and on the other side of the LR, I saw sitting on the couch none other than my sister. She was wearing her school uniform and was looking towards me, but not at me. Never said a word. Nothing really unusual, right? What makes this a glitch? My sister was hundreds of miles away at boarding school, not helping us plant flowers, and certainly not sitting at the edge of the couch giving me a blank stare. My little 8-year-old self reversed course and locked himself in the half bath until he regained the courage to go back through the house and finish planting hostas. When my mom called to tell me that my grandpa died, I thought she said Papa died, and Papa is the nickname for my dad. I was crying uncontrollably, and when I finally figured out it was Grandpa, I was too embarrassed to admit that I thought it was my dad. I called him later and told him, and he just laughed. Anyway, fast forward 3 weeks and my dad dies too. Part of me thinks mishearing her was the universe preparing me to lose him. It was weird, because it was like I lost him twice, and I'm still kind of waiting for someone to tell me it was all a mistake, and it was actually someone else. Edit. I feel kind of bad, because I've barely thought about Grandpa since my dad died. My grandma has it the worst, because she lost a husband and a son in the same month. Once when I was about 14ish, I got up to get ready to go to school as always. Our bathroom sink and mirror was next to the door, and as I was brushing my teeth I saw and heard my 4-year-old sister run past the bathroom through the mirror. Now mind you, there's no other way back to her room, since we only had one hallway leading to all the bedrooms, and it was past the bathroom. I went to the living room, kitchen and dining room to find her to send her back to bed, and I couldn't find her anywhere. I went to check in her room to see if she snuck past me, and she was in a deep sleep, so I knew it wasn't her immediately. I told my mom about this when she got up, and she just said, "You saw that little girl too?" Freaked me the hell out. Never saw her again, thankfully. Every time I just randomly think about the movie Groundhog Day, I see it everywhere. People mention it to me. It's on the TV, radio. I can't escape it. One night my dad was tucking me in when I was 8 years old. He said goodnight and I replied goodbye. He asked me why I said bye, and we laughed it off. It was just an accident. The next morning my brother found him passed in the living room. He had a heart attack in the middle of the night at the age of 48. When I was a little kid, like around 6 to 7, my family got a pet hamster slash gerbil slash whatever. I remember the first day we got him. I played with him, went upstairs for bed, fell asleep, woke up, came back downstairs, and he was dead. I was really sad that the pet we had just gotten was dead, and my parents informed me we had him for a year before he died. I literally have no recollection of that entire year. I just get a hamster, fall asleep, miss a year of my life, wake up, hamster's dead. It's trippy thinking about it now. Had a bonfire at a family member's home. They put a sheet of metal on a concrete slab, then built a bonfire on top. No one thought about what happens when you make a hot spot in the middle of a frozen concrete slab. The concrete expands with nowhere to go, so it literally explodes. I was the closest to the fire. When it exploded, I had enough time to check where the debris was going to see that I wasn't going to be hit. Look over at my mother and think I should move anyway so she doesn't freak out. So then I calmly stood up and backed away from the fire while laying down the chair I was sitting in so it would fit between my legs while I stepped backwards. At least that's what I thought. My cousin came up to me after and said he'd never seen anyone move as fast as I did. Sometimes when I dream and I wake up. I know it's a dream. I just know it's a dream. But I can't wake up. And the harder I try to wake up, or the more I realize I have to wake up, the scarier it gets, even though nothing really changes. It feels like a darkness enveloping you as you try and wake up from your fake room. How do I know it's a fake room? Just some weird details. Like how my wall looks a little too white, or the Christmas tree's lights are on when they're supposed to be off. Don't ask why I have one in my room and not the living room, lol. So then I go through like maybe 1 to 2 minutes of intense waking up, falling back asleep, trying to open my eyes, but then falling back asleep right after. As I said, the rooms are similar, but not too similar, so I can just about tell when I'm in the real world and when I'm dreaming. Or perhaps both rooms are fake, and when I finally wake up, it's the real me in the real world. I dunno. Those are the scariest of dreams, even though they last for a few minutes tops, because that's right before I'm about to wake up. In 6th grade I called my mom to let her know my dad was about to head her way to drop my little sister and I off, divorced parents. When she answered I said, "Mama," and my mom frantically asked, "My name. Is that you?" I said, "Yes." She asked where I was. I said, "Dad's house. We are about to come home now. Just wanted to let you know. Love you, mama." She asked me, "Who's daddy? Where are you? Are you okay?" Obviously I was confused and just answered, "Mama, I'm fine. I'm okay. I love you. I'll see you soon." She said she loved me too, tried to get me to stay on the phone, and I just hung up. My dad later got a call and visit from the police. As it turns out, I'd accidentally dialed the number of a woman whose daughter had the same name as me and had gone missing. Everything was cleared up very quickly, but I always thought it wasn't a mistake, that I dialed the wrong number. Maybe it was that woman's daughter saying goodbye. Back in the mid 1990s I had a dream that I went to visit my cousin. We live in different states, and her family was sad because someone close to their family had died. It bothered me enough that I mentioned it to my wife. My wife said that I should email my cousin and ask her if everyone is okay. I sent off an email asking if everyone is okay because I had this dream, explaining the dream, but I'm probably just being silly. She Emails me back the next day and says no, I'm not being silly. An uncle of her husband's had died recently and that they were very close to him. Sometimes, a moment or two before something happens, I'll remember I dreamed what was about to happen. Then it happens. This whole thing happened so fast. It's freaky. Edit. Whoa. This blew up. Thank you Guis. I've never gotten so many upvotes. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel.